Okay, so now we're looking at a slightly 3/4 view drawing, and I'm going to start with the lips again. And I'm just trying to get the shape. I'm starting with the half that's closest to me, and I'm sort of putting in the leg shape and how it dips down. I've made it pretty tall, pretty fat. And now I'm doing the extending it out a little bit, and now I'm going to do a little the other half. Because this is slightly 3/4 view, it's not quite as symmetrical. The short side that's farther away from me is shorter. So you can see this leg comes out longer, and the other half that's farther away from me doesn't go as far. Okay, so I still have a center point, and this is my basically my stretched M shape, and because it's 3/4 view, it's not perfectly symmetrical. And in my frontal view, I had a perfect vertical axis and a horizontal axis, but here the horizontal is slightly tilted, okay, and then that. So I'm just marking that it's not perfectly horizontal, and the vertical actually tilts a little bit as well. They're an axis. So I've got my upper lip, and this is going to allow me to kind of find my relationships from here. You know, the bottom lip, and then also I'm going to do the nose too. Cool. So the bottom lip, I'm going to find that the center of the bottom lip is a cylinder, and there I'm just sort of sketching those elliptical cross contour, and I'm getting just the under plane of the bottom lip, and just notice how it's not perfectly horizontal, it's slightly tilted, so it's on that axis, and I just put it in a little darkness there for a cast shadow. And now I'm doing those cleft ridge from the upper lip, from those 2 points, and those go right into where the nostril holes are. So I'm just making a note of the nostril hole, and you can see on here I'm doing the nostril hole that's farther away, and it's not as long, right? See the one that's closer to me, I see the shape, it's a longer sort of ovalish shape, and the one that's farther away, because it's a 3/4 view, it's not quite, see, longer and just a little shorter, okay? Longer, right? And a little shorter on the half that's farther away. All right, so that's important. And again, the angle of those should be slightly tilted, not vertical. So now I'm finding my second stretched M shape, which is, it's the underplane of the nose, and it kind of, the dip in the M goes in between those two nostrils, and then the leg kind of comes down. And again, 3/4 view. I'm sort of noticing this is longer on this half, and this, I'm noticing it in the photograph. It's, the angle's different, and it's shorter, right? So my perfect symmetrical M shape is not perfectly symmetrical in the 3/4 view. Okay, and I'm seeing these edges, so again, just checking to make sure that these are parallel and they're not perfectly horizontal, they're slightly tilted. Okay, and there's my axis on that tilted one too. And so I'm finding the bottom of the chin, how far away is it from the lip, and again, make sure that's perfectly, not perfectly horizontal, it's tilted. And in a 3/4 view, the best thing about the 3/4 view is that you can really see the cheek edge of the far cheek, and you'll be able to see the nose edge. So I was just sketching that in, and I'm really making sure that my M shape is not too long, not too pointy. So I'm doing that measurement again, bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, from the bottom of the nose to the top of the chin. Make sure that's slightly tilted, parallel with all my other ones there, and that's where the brow is. Cool. And so if I go up from the outside of the nose, that's usually, I'm just looking for a relationship, and I'm noticing I can see the eyebrow on this, in this reference, so I'm putting in the eyebrow shape. If you can see it really clearly, you can put it in. If you have a model or a reference shape and you can't really see it, then don't put it in. But notice how those lines that I'm drawing up, they're not perfectly vertical, they're the axis for my tilted horizontals, you know what I mean? And here I'm just getting the basic shape. Again, 3/4 view, guys, so this is this long on the side that I see that's closest to me, that's not curving out of view, that's that long. And so on the side that's slightly 3/4 view, it's just not going to be as long, okay, because it's curving out of view. All right. And now I'm just gonna observe the outside edge of the far cheek and forehead. And in a 3/4 view, it's really great to be able to notice that. So I'm getting my V, brow to nose V, okay? And I'm observing, you know, what does that V look like on this, in this photo reference, on this model? And it's gonna go to the most narrow point on the nose, okay? And that's the front-facing plane of the nose there, right? And this, I'm just noticing that it's kind of a curved V, so I'm just sort of sketching that in. And I'm just putting in, again, these are just rough notes about where things would get darker because it wouldn't get hit with light directly, just for my sketch. And so it's the side plane of the nose that curves up and underneath your eye socket area. Okay, so I'm just, you know, I'm not doing real shading right now. I'm just trying to note where something's a side plane, underplane. So I have the underplane of the nose, the underplane of the bottom lip. The upper lip isn't an underplane, but it does actually tilt in. And here, this is the underplane of the brow, and it kind of fades into the side plane of your nose. Okay, and on the far side, you can actually even see how it's in there. All right, so, and I'm noting the forehead, again, making sure that I have parallel eyebrows, underplane of the nose, mouth, chin, all those things are slightly tilted and parallel to each other. And I'm just going to note the basic shape of the front plane of the forehead. Let's stop with this here and we'll continue in a second video just to not make this video too long. But so just as a note that where these dark areas are, it's just trying to note where underplanes are. Underplane of the bottom lip. The upper lip is not a really severe underplane, but it does tilt in a little bit and it has darker pigment in it, so that's why we've made that shape slightly darker. This is the underplane of the nose. The nostrils are in that underplane and it curves around to side plane and front plane, but it's just the basic shape. And then we made this here, it's the underplane and it goes into a side plane. Underplane goes into a side plane, just to sort of let us know that all these things aren't at the same point. All right, and one thing I didn't note is right in here, I would notice how far away this cheek angle here is. I would notice how close it gets to the lip, how much space there is here, how close it is to the tip of the nose, right? How much space there is between here, because that'll tell you this is not an extremely turned away 3/4 view. It's almost frontal, right? When it gets more and more 3/4, the tip of the nose and the edge of the cheek will be much closer. The tip of the mouth might actually even line up with the edge of the cheek or even overlap it. Sometimes lips will overlap it. So this is almost a frontal view, very slight 3/4.